Logical reasoning, simply put, is the ability of an individual to draw out conclusions from the given information. Hi everyone, I'm Megha and welcome to UGC Net with Megha. In this video, we are going to summarize the unit Logical Reasoning, and in this part, we are going to take up only the aspects other than the Indian logics, that is the logical reasoning in the standard sense would be summarized from the exam point of view under the video series wherein we are summarizing all the units of paper 1 from the exam point of view. So in order to help you that what are the areas to focus more on and what areas require less or no practice at all, just the mere understanding can help you answer the questions. So we are going to first start with the different types of reasoning. So reasoning are of three types: deductive, inductive and abductive. So deductive reasoning is where we, from the general statements, we draw a specific conclusion. For example, if we say that all dancers are flexible and Ram is a dancer, so you can draw a conclusion here that Ram is flexible. So there was a general statement with you that all the dancers are flexible, and since Ram is a dancer, he would also be flexible. That is the specific conclusion that you have drawn here. Next is the inductive reasoning. Herein, from a specific statement you draw general conclusion. That is, if you are given two statements like Ram is a dancer and he is also flexible. In the same manner, Geeta is a dancer and is also flexible. So now you saw that there are two dancers and both are flexible. So you can give out a general conclusion that all the dancers are flexible. So generally we say that if somebody is a dancer, he or she might be flexible. So this is known as inductive reasoning. And lastly is the abductive reasoning. Here you make an educated guess from the information which is given to you. Here the information is partial, or you can say an incomplete information is there. On the basis of that incomplete information, you draw a conclusion or an educated guess particularly. That type of reasoning is known as abductive reasoning. Next we are going to talk about is propositions. So propositions, in other words, can be called as the statements given under logical reasoning. So the statements which are given to you in the question are nothing but propositions. Now propositions are of two types: categorical proposition and conditional proposition. Categorical proposition is again divided into two parts, that is universal and particular proposition. Now universal proposition includes A-type statement and E-type statement. The A-type statement simply means a positive, universal positive statement, that means all A's are B. And E-type statement means universal negative, that means no A is B. Next we are going to discuss the particular categorical propositions. In this there are again two types. One is the I type, which is particular positive. Another one is O type, which is particular negative. If we talk about particular positive, it means that some A's are B, whereas particular negative simply means that some A's are not B. Similarly, conditional propositions are also divided into three categories: hypothetical, disjunctive and alternative. Generally, not many questions have been asked from this area, and also this has not been given under the syllabus of UGC. But for the information sake, you need to know the three classifications of conditional propositions. Now, at times there are questions based on the parts of a proposition. That is, a proposition is divided into three parts, that is the subject, the predicate and the copula. So what do we understand by subject? Subject is the term which is being discussed, and predicate is what is being discussed about the subject or the term, and copula is the word or the group of words that establishes the connection between the subject and the predicate. Next we are going to cover is the conversion of proposition. So basically all the positive statements, that is universally positive statements, are A-type statement, and first you need to identify the type of statement which has already been given to you in order to identify that in which type of statement it would get converted. So if a A-type statement is given, it would be converted into a I-type statement. In the same manner, I-type statements get converted into I-type statements, E-type statements get converted into E-type statements, and lastly, O-type statements do not get converted at all. They remain the same. So the next topic and the frequently asked topic in UGC is syllogism. Syllogism simply means deduction, that is drawing conclusions out of the given propositions. This topic particularly seems to be tough on hearing the word itself, that is the syllogism. But a topic is quite simple. The only thing is that you need to know that how to identify the mood of syllogism and also the figure of syllogism. If you are thorough with these two topics, you can solve the questions based on syllogism. So before we finally understand how to identify the mood and the figure of syllogism, first thing we need to see is that we need to identify in such questions the subject and the predicate on the priority. And how is it identified? It is done by seeing the conclusion statement. So the conclusion statement, you will determine that this is the subject and this is the predicate, and whichever statement contains the predicate of the conclusion statement would be considered as the major premise and the other statement would be considered as the minor premise. Now we are going to understand that how to identify the mood of syllogism. So now you will identify that what type of statement is the major premise, whether it is A, E, I, O, and you will write that alphabet in front of it. Then you will move on to the minor premise and see whether it is a A-type statement or I-type or the other two types, and you will write that letter in front of that particular statement. In the similar manner, you will analyze the conclusion, that what type of statement it is, and write that alphabet in front of it. Now, for example, if you have got triple A, that is AAA, which means that all the three statements are universal positive type statements. And also if you are given like triple A as the mood of any particular proposition, then you can simply say that two A-type statements would always give a A-type conclusion. So these are the inferences that you can draw from the mood of syllogism. The next thing that we are going to understand is the figure of syllogism. So figure of syllogism simply represents the order in which the subject, predicate and the middle term, that is the common term, are present. Now again here we are going to make use of the conclusion statement in order to identify the subject and the predicate, and once the subject and the predicate are identified, we will identify the major premise and the minor premise. So the statement containing the predicate would be considered as the major premise and the other one would be considered as the minor premise here. So for the figure of syllogism, you simply need to see that which is the major premise, minor premise, and after you have identified the major and the minor premise, you just need to see the order in which the middle term, predicate and subject are present in both the premises. And now if we talk about the major premise, it will only have the middle term and the predicate. So from the left hand side of the statement, you will see whether the middle term is the first or the predicate is the first, and then accordingly determine the order. In the same manner, we will repeat for the minor premise whether the subject is the first or the middle term is the first from the left hand side, and then we will place the orders. So on the basis of this, we can draw 4 figures out of syllogism. So first figure could be MPSM, which simply means that middle term, predicate, subject and the middle term out of the 2 given statements. In the similar manner, there can be 3 more, that is second figure is PMSM, third figure is MPMS and fourth figure is PMMS. So basically these are the numbers given to this particular order. So if your middle term, predicate and subject are in the given order, then accordingly you will determine the number of the figure, that is it is the first figure, second figure, third figure or so on. Next thing that from where the questions are generally asked is the square of opposition. So square of opposition I have covered in detail in another video. So you can have a look at that video. The link is right here, and I am not going to discuss this particular topic here in detail. The next topic from where the questions are asked is Venn diagram, and not just in logical reasoning but also in mathematical reasoning the questions are asked from this particular area, and thus this makes the topic very important. As a result, I would be covering this particular topic in a separate video and not here. We will cover the topic in detail in a separate video. So that was all for this video. Thank you for watching this video, and if you want me to cover any particular topic, you can leave your comments in the comment section, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And for more details on our online course, visit our website www.ugcnetwithmegha.com, and the link for the website is given in the description below. And for regular updates, follow us on our social media handles.